is something seriously wrong going on when it comes to sports. The integrity is more questionable now than it has ever been before. Late last month, as we all know, Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones, all arrested for illegal gambling. In Damon Jones' case, in Chauncey Billups' case, in Terry Rozier's case, we're talking about fixing.
Okay, so he's saying it's happening at 3 schools. What's crazy is, this isn't just a one-off thing. This is a real crisis. It's spreading through college basketball super fast. And listen, it's even worse than what you're hearing. Everyone's focused on these 6 players getting banned, but what about all the other ones they haven't caught yet? I mean, these schemes are so obvious. Are these guys just dumb, or is there a whole network of smarter criminals still getting away with it? I'm gonna break this down for you, because after this, you'll look at every close game totally differently.
The NBA has an issue on their hand. You had the Michael Porter Jr., the Jonte Porter case. You had the Michael Beasley case that's still up in the air. Most recently, Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones. Basketball is in a place. Is something going to come down the pike when it comes to the WNBA? When it comes to WNBA leadership? WNBA officials, perhaps? WNBA players, perhaps? Going 2 for 15 on a random Wednesday night.
Did you hear what he said about the WNBA? Everybody's skipping over that part, but it's huge. He's saying there's a whole league where nobody's even looking for this. Think about it, if players and investigators aren't watching the WNBA, what's stopping them from running the same schemes there? You know, players go 4 for 15 on a Wednesday night, and everyone just says, bad game. But after this, you'll never look at a bad game the same way again. And get this, the biggest name caught is BJ Freeman from Arizona State, not some bench guy trying to make a quick buck. This was the team's second leading scorer. He was averaging almost 14 points a game. This was a real player throwing it all away. But listen to what he was doing.
Never play college basketball again, nor will the former players at Mississippi Valley State and New Orleans. Said Quavius Hunter, Daquavian Short, Jamon Vincent, Donovan Sanders, and Alvin Stredrick. Freeman's case was first reported by CBS Sports in September. The NCAA uncovered his infractions while looking into a different case tied to former Fresno State basketball player Mikal Robinson. Records on Robinson's phone indicated that on 4 separate occasions between November and December 2024, Freeman knowingly provided information to Robinson, who was betting on Freeman through daily fantasy sports accounts. According to the Committee on the Infractions Report, Freeman also knowingly provided information on at least 2 occasions to his then-girlfriend, who was also
on Freeman through daily fantasy sports accounts. According to the Committee on the Infraction Report, Freeman also knowingly provided information on at least 2 occasions to his then-girlfriend, who was also betting. So Freeman was feeding info to his girlfriend and some dude named Male Robinson. He was telling them exactly what to bet on: bet the over on my points, bet the over on my 3-pointers. And then he's trying to hit those numbers in the games. But here's what makes this wild: when the investigators talked to him, he lied about everything. He said he didn't share any info, that he didn't have a DraftKings account even though the account was in his name and email, and he'd been putting money into it while he was at his old school. You're watching someone ruin their future right in front of you. And for what? We're not talking millions here, we're talking about a college kid trying to make a few $1,000, maybe less. And the craziest part, Freeman got kicked off Arizona State in February. But get this, it wasn't even because of the gambling. He was going to transfer to UCF in the spring, probably thinking he was in the clear. Then bam, permanent ban. No more college basketball ever. His career is over before it even started. But Freeman's scheme? That's nothing compared to what was happening at the University of New Orleans. Check this out.
The NCAA's finding. A student athlete reported overhearing Kedquavius Hunter and Daquavian Short and Jamon Vincent discussing a third party placing a bet for them on their December 28, 2024 game. The same student athlete reported that during a timeout near the end of the game, Short instructed him not to score any more points. Hey, play some bets. Don't score any more points so my bets can hit. Don't score any more points so the people who I told to bet on this can hit. The 3 players were suspended at the end of January last season and never played again.
Wait a minute. Did you catch that? During a timeout, at the end of a live game, one player tells his teammate, "Don't score any more points so my bets can hit." Just think about that. They're coordinating game fixing during the game, on the bench, in front of coaches and cameras. The nerve of these guys is insane. But what's even crazier is another student athlete reported overhearing 3 players, Quavius Hunter, Davian Short, and Juman Vincent, discussing the third party placing bets for them before their December 28th game. They weren't even trying to hide it. They're having full-on conversations about throwing games where teammates can hear them. And get this, text messages from Vincent's phone showed him literally texting people with instructions to bet on the game because we plan to throw it. Who texts that? Who leaves that kind of evidence on their phone? But here's what nobody's talking about. These weren't random games. The investigation found they tried to mess with the game 7 different times, 7 games where fans paid for tickets, bet on their team to win, and the players had already decided what was going to happen before the game even started.
On the same day with a known bettor who told them to lay it down for the next game. This is as blatant as you can get when it comes to fixing games, rigging outcomes, jonesing the system, if you will. At MVSU, Mississippi Valley State, the NCAA claims it found more of the same, albeit in another scheme that was unconnected to the activity at University of New Orleans. The NCAA's probe began with the team's 79-67 loss at Alabama A&M on January 6th, but as the investigation continued in 2025, they uncovered game fixing dating back to the week of Christmas last season.
Now, we've got text messages showing Short and Hunter talking about getting $5,000, $5,000 to throw a game, and they're on FaceTime calls with a known bettor who's telling them to bet on the next game. This is organized crime happening in college basketball. We're not talking about kids making dumb mistakes, we're talking about systematic game fixing with outside bettors calling the shots. But hold on, there's a third school involved. This is where it gets really messed up. Mississippi Valley State had its own thing going on, and what the investigators found there shows you how deep this goes. The NCAA's investigation started with one game, a loss to Alabama A&M in January. But when they dug deeper, they found game fixing dating all the way back to Christmas week. And the way it went down? It's like something straight out of a movie.
24 game, he overheard Donovan Sanders on the phone with an unknown third party talking about throwing the game, the NCAA states. Sanders asked the student athlete to participate in the call because the third party had told Sanders the individual intended to bet on the game and wanted to know that another of Sanders' teammates would participate in the scheme. The student athlete denied altering his performance or receiving money from Sanders or any other individuals. Sanders texted the same student athlete after the game and told him to delete their messages. The NCAA
Okay, so picture this. Before their December 20th, 21st game, one of the student athletes overhears Donovan Sanders on the phone with someone. Sanders is talking about throwing the game. Then Sanders asks the teammate to get on the call because the bettor wants to make sure that another player is in on it. Think about that for a second. Sanders is trying to get his own teammate in on the game fixing right before they're supposed to play. And when the student athlete doesn't want to participate, Sanders texts him after the game and tells him to delete all the messages. That shows he knew he was doing something wrong right there. Sanders knew exactly what he was doing and knew he needed to cover it up. He wasn't smart enough to know that the investigators could get those messages back, and here's what's more disturbing. Sanders and another player, Alvin Strand, were given money to make sure that Mississippi Valley State lost their January 6th game against Alabama A&M. They were being paid to lose the game for their own team. Okay, you might be thinking, this is terrible, but at least the NCAA is doing something about it. Just wait, because the hypocrisy of how the NCAA is handling all this is going to make you crazy.
Is that the NCAA, the hypocrites that they are, as of November 1st, they now allow these athletes to bet on pro sports. So let's just get this habit going, shall we? The hypocrisy is all across the board, from the people that report on this, the ESPN, they have their ESPN bet, the podcast, they have like their by FanDuel, by DraftKings, so on and so forth. Now you have the NCAA punishing players for betting on games, fixing games. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But on the other hand, you're now allowing these guys to bet on pro sports, getting them in the habit, getting them in the mode of betting on this crap before they weren't allowed to.
Did you catch that? It's the NCAA permanently banning these players for betting on games and fixing them, which they should be doing absolutely. But then, as of November 1st, the NCAA now lets college leagues bet on pro sports. Let me say that again, the same group that just ended 6 players' careers for gambling is now pushing athletes to gamble, just on different games. They're teaching these kids to gamble, but telling them not to bet on their own sport. It's like saying you can drink, but not on Tuesdays. It's insane. They're normalizing gambling, getting these kids comfortable with betting apps, teaching them how odds work, how to place bets, then acting shocked when some of them go too far and bet on their own games. It gets even deeper. ESPN reports on these gambling scandals, with the ESPN Bet logo all over the place. Podcasts are sponsored by DraftKings and FanDuel. The whole sports media world is built on gambling money now, but they want to act like they're better than everyone else when players do what they've been encouraged to do. The system is pushing athletes toward gambling, then punishing them when they take it too far. It's wrong, and no one wants to say it because there's too much money involved. But zoom out for a minute. What's happening in college basketball is just the beginning. Remember what he said at the start about the NBA and MLB?